So just to go over the story, McFarlane might be Canadian, but McFarlane lives in Arizona.
Hmm.
And this is like a score for Shawnee Poo because I got to see Todd quite a bit. Or I said his first name. I got to see Mr. McFarlane quite a bit. Anyways, so he had a place in Tempe, or I should say Chandler, Arizona. It was really wicked. It was really cool. It was dark. It was damp and kind of weird. And that was the one I wish that he would have brought to Glendale. But this is Glendale. This is the Glendale area. It was very nice, clean, sparkly. Um, it was 1000% all McFarlane toys, but
Wow.
eventually he ended up bringing in other toy companies to sell in his store. Um, I think it was just rough times, possibly. You could see the Funkos. It was very weird because of like walking into the store that was nothing but McFarlane, and then what the heck is Funko doing here? Like, oh. And just to point out, I wish I found a picture, but there was a life size Master Chief statue in this building. It was cool. It was life size. It was huge. Um, there's that, but let me get to the story. So the story goes like this. It's 2009. We're going through a recession. Don't know if anyone else remembers, but yes, we're going through a recession. Times were tough. My job fired quite like a third of the employees due to what was going on. Shawnee Poo is luckily able to stay on, and it was all because I was able to do more than just one thing. And that was something my boss had retold me over the years that, yeah, it's because you were able to do this, this, and this. And that's how I, as a manager, I looked at it. Anyone that had more than one skill, I kept. And anyone that had the most least, I had to let them go. It was a business decision. So the sucky thing was, even though I was kept, my hours went down. And I was an installer. I installed window shutters and windows. And I would work way more than 40 hours a week. There was sometimes I was pushing 60. And then the recession hit. People were laid off. And that's a sad thing, but not just my hours, everyone's hours were dramatically cut. It got to a point where we were working 16 hours a week. And that was, like I said, it was freaking tough to survive only working 16 hours a week. We had to go on state assistance, and there was even more assistance because of the situation. But now that I've painted that, around this time, Todd McFarlane and Robert Kirkman, don't know if any guys heard of Robert Kirkman.
Oh yeah.
He's the creator of Walking Dead. They teamed up and released this comic book called Haunt. In fact, let me bring this up. Boom. There you go. So, oh, I didn't share it. Oh my gosh. Hang on.
It's all right. We've been up for almost 4 hours, so
I know. Oh my gosh. I was like, and here it is. But this is the comic book. Pretty much this comic book was coming out, and there was a lot of news. There was a lot of interest. Everyone wanted to get in on it because this was not only Todd McFarlane, this was Robert freaking Kirkman, man. The guy that's been like high on the tops of the mountains doing this Walking Dead thing and Invincible. So this character is different. I don't know if I want to get into much of the character. It's like it was two things. It was a brother that was like a priest, and then there was another brother that was like a mercenary. The mercenary one dies, and the priest one keeps on getting visited by the ghost of his brother. And when stuff hits the fan, because the mercenary brother's like, you gotta save my wife, you gotta save my wife that you used to like back in the day. And the priest brother's like, I can't get into this. I don't. Well, he ends up getting into it. And at the end, the ghost brother, mercenary that died, jumps into his brother's body and they form Haunt, what you see on the screen. It was really different. It was interesting, fresh, new. There you go. So, word spread that I mean, it's like this. Word spread that there was whispers from a little bird I knew. I'm not going to give names. That the McFarlane store in Glendale, Arizona, would receive these Haunt comics, possibly including more than just the common A cover. The news, I would have to say, ignited a spark of hope in my heart because I was like, oh my gosh, it would be so cool. But just to go over this stuff, so you have the A cover, you have the B cover, and I messed up. I do apologize. This should have been 1 in 10. I do apologize.
The B cover?
Yes, I do believe. Let me just.
I'm looking at the prices now. This comic's no slouch.
Yes. So I do apologize. I put 1 in 25. This should be 1 in 10. So the whole thing is this. In order to get this comic book, the comic book stores would have to buy 10 of these in order to be able to buy one of these. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
So then you had cover C, and let me correct this. Cover C actually was 1 in 25. I do apologize. Oh, this is embarrassing.
Okay. So it's one back.
Yeah. So 1 in 10, 1 in 25. Again, you had to buy 25 of these to get one of these. Next up, boom! This one is actually the 1 in 50. I do apologize. Again, 110, 125, 1 in 50. Again, had to buy 50 of these to get one of these. And last but not least, just like Vivi guys, we got the secret rare. Now,
Excelsior.
yeah, I did get this number right. I know for a fact. This is the correct number. In order to get one of these, a comic book store would have to buy 100 copies of this A cover. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but in my area in Arizona, for the most part, when these came out, Haunt A cover would be regular price, $2.99. This 1 in 10 would be around $9.99. This 1 in 25 would be around $25, $30. And then this one, 1 in 50, would definitely be around the $50 to $60 mark. And last but not least, this E cover, 1 in 100, they would seriously be selling right at the start over $100. So, I'm sorry, I'm like going through this education thing. So now that I've gotten through all of that, let me continue on with the story. A little bird told me that there was a chance that the McFarlane store is going to have all of these covers. Now, I just told you what the prices were going to be at a comic book store if they got it. And I'll just say this. Stores would maybe get one of these. I mean, if it's Top Cow 2, I would think. I mean, I could be wrong, but for the most part, I think most comic book stores only got one of these. So, now let's move on. I heard that he was going to have stuff over there, so I hurried over to the McFarlane store. I filled with anticipation, only to be met with disappointment. Oh my gosh, I went down there. No Haunt comic books in sight. There was nothing. I was crestfallen. I was about to leave when a store representative, the CSR that was working, inquired, "Hey, what are you looking for?" And I like, I was about to just, no, I'm good. I'm not. But I said, I'm actually looking for this Haunt comic book. Do you guys have it? So I shared, and with a sly wink, this individual told me, "Hey, come back tomorrow." And I didn't know how to take that. I thought this person might be freaking with me. And so um I the next day I did go. I couldn't the wonder I mean I just needed to know. I just had to seize the opportunity. So the next day I was working. I bust my booty to get done as early as possible, and then I headed straight over to the McFarlane store in Glendale, Arizona. Um, I, I actually spent about 15 minutes outside in front of my car before I came in because I didn't know if I wanted to go in or not. I was like, man, is this guy pulling my leg? Like, he's probably messing with me. As soon as I walk in, there's going to be nothing. So I'm talking to myself for 15 minutes. Eventually, I find myself inside the store. I took a deep breath, walked inside. Yet, my search within the store, I walked around everywhere. I didn't see nothing. It was another. I roamed around aimlessly, and my excitement just it went away. I was like, oh my gosh, like I knew it. And again, I was about to walk out when a female CSR approached me and asked me what am I looking for? I then explained that, hey, I heard that there was like some Haunt comics. Like, do you guys have that? To my amazement, she pointed behind me. And I turned. I turned to find a table upon which lay the coveted Haunt comics. Haunt. They were not only did they have cover A, but they also had cover B, cover C, cover D, and that elusive cover E 1 in 100.
Excelsior.
I was speechless. I was like, "Oh my gosh, look at these." And I became even more speechless when I looked at the price tags. Cover A, $2.99. Cover B, $2.99. Cover C, $2.99. That was I was like dumbfounded at that point. Like, what? Like, no. Cover D, $2.99. This is unbelievable. No way. Cover E, $2.99.
What?
How?
That ain't it. That ain't it. That wasn't all. Remember, they had 10 copies of cover A. They had 10 copies of cover C. Cover B, they had 10 copies of all 5 of them right in front of me, all at cover price. Again, I'm going to reiterate. Most stores, even at this time, could only obtain one of these 1 in 100s.
Yeah.
Serious. So I stood there staring at, staring at them in disbelief. It's like this. I bought one of each. I purchased one of each. Well, yeah, actually 2 of each. So it was 2 A covers, 2 B, 2 C, 2 D. But I took a chance. Take a chance on me. Took a chance on. I bought 8 of those 1 in 100s. And I'm gonna be upfront. I did not believe that they were really legit 1 in 100s. I really did not believe it. So I bought 8 of them, and I left 2 there. Um,
How
I-
nice.
that's not it. I ended up I was in disbelief. I was so like profound that I went to my local comic book shop down in downtown Glendale, Drawn to Comics. Let's give them a shout out.
Excelsior.
I just wanted to confirm, are these legit? And I didn't want to make a big O scene. So as soon as I was able to get a hold of the store owner, I was like, "Hey man, hey, like, come on, like, is this legit?" And he affirmed that they were legit, and I could not believe it. For it's like this. I was struggling. My wife and I, we were struggling at this time, and for the first time in my life, I found myself selling a comic book for profit. Usually, I had, I mean, I was the cat lady, but with comic books. I would never give a comic book away. And this was really, really difficult because we were in some difficult times. And really, I really shouldn't have bought all this stuff, but I took a chance. And yeah, I was able to sell a bunch of those Haunt 1 in 100s for over $100 a piece.
Wow.
And I don't know what to say other than it really helped out. We were struggling, but this time I had to make an exception, and it was with Haunt comic books. And I just want to say, I want to extend my heartfelt thanks to Todd McFarlane
Excelsior.
and the McFarlane store and whoever the exceptional CSRs are during that time, that trying period. I'm so thankful. My family and I were struggling due to the recession, layoffs at my job, reduced pay, and slashed hours. We were in dire straits, and this unexpected turn of fortune provided a lifeline. I'm really like, thank you, Todd. I don't know if it was an accident. I don't think it was. But they definitely did change things after that. I will guarantee you guys, I promise you, that did not happen after that. They did actually get more in. I don't know how, but they were selling it for way more than $3.
Someone realized it was the wrong price tag.
Yeah. So, Mr. McFarlane, while I express my regrets for liking your books, I must simultaneously, I cannot apologize. Your comics helped put food on my table when times were toughest. And that's the remarkable impact, I will say, Todd McFarlane had on my life. So there you go. That's the McFarlane story.
Cool, man.